Okay, so we have this really cool photo of Kylo Ren that was taken up at the Redwood Forest, and we want to make his blade look like it's a little bit more realistic. In the movies, the blade is very unstable, and we want to try and emulate that effect using both Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. So we're just going to up the exposure a little bit, bring down the highlights because we've got a little bit of brightness in the back there, bring up the texture and the clarity to really get some detail and midtones there. And then we're just going to bring up some vibrance as well, just to make it pop a little bit more. Now, because he's wearing all black, it's a little hard to see all of the details. So we're going to use a Nik plugin called Color Effects Pro. And that's going to create a copy. So it's a non-destructive editing software that creates a copy of the image. Now, there's a couple of things I like to do here. And I like to use the recipes to... you can sort of see there's some presets there, some really cool presets. And one of my favorites is the clarity bump, and that just gives it a little bit more in the midtones. I'm going to apply a second filter here called a detail extractor and see how it brings out all the detail in the actual robes here in Kylo Ren's outfit, which is pretty cool. And I'm just going to hit save on that. And then that saves a whole new second image that's a non-destructive. So it's non-destructive, it's not ruining the original raw. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an object as a mask, and I'm going to select that just the lightsaber itself. Okay, so just creating a whole new mask for just the lightsaber. So the lightsaber is very vibrant here. And so I'm going to brighten it up a fair bit, just to make it look as though it looks unstable, because if you see it in the movies, it's got a very white center with a fair bit of a glow. The mask here's gone a little bit haywire, so I'm just going to remove some of it because we're altering some of the robes as well, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just hitting select object and subtract. So I'm going to bring that up to a point where I'm sort of happy with it. And then what I'm going to do next in Photoshop is actually make it look as though it's glowing. So just bringing up some of the texture and some of the clarity to really enhance the color and everything. And then I'm just going to save it and export it into my JPEG. And then from there, I'm going to go into Photoshop. So now opening up in Photoshop, I've got two images open. I've got one where the blade hasn't been altered and it's that original red color. And then I've got another one where I've got the image that I just exported. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select around the actual blade itself. Now, just you don't have to be too precise on this, but I'm going to try and get as close as I can. So I've got two images open, okay? I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to hit Control Copy. Then I'm going to hit Control V to paste, and then Control T to transform. So I'm just going to move it around a little bit, just until I get it almost over top. Just a little bit of playing around and tweaking. Now I'm only doing a very rough version here, but you get the general idea. So that's sort of where I want it. And then to actually make sure it's sitting in the correct position once we've got it all correct, I'm going to hit the Enter or the Return key on your Mac. Okay, if you need to change it at all, it's just Control T or Command T on a Mac. Now I'm going to hit down the bottom here. I'm going to create a new layer. Remember, black reveals, white conceals. And I'm just going to paint over the areas where I don't want them to be seen. So just getting rid of some of that purple glow, getting rid of some of that, because we've got a little bit too much, and we want to get rid of that center because that's gone and made it a little bit too red. And also it's a little bit bigger. So we're just going to tidy that up a little bit. So again, this is just a rough sort of work over with it, and just remove a little bit, not too much. Maybe I need to bring down the brush size a little bit, but remove a little bit there. And now just remembering too that white reveals, black conceals, and then Control T to transform and just resize exactly where I want it to sit. I want to make it look like it's glowing, so I want to sit that secondary layer a little bit bigger than the actual first layer, okay? Just so that we've got a little bit there to work with. Just being careful not to pick up any colours that we don't actually want, because otherwise it's not going to look quite correct. So you just want to make sure that we're a little bit neat there. and making sure that we tidy everything up really, really good. And that's sort of looking a little bit better. So again, this is only just a demonstration. What we're going to do next then, we're going to go to a blur. We're going to give it a gouache and blur. And that's actually going to blur that layer. So what it's going to do is it's going to blur it out, and that's going to make it look a bit more like a shadow. And you can play around with percentage here on what you want it to do. And that blur a gouache and blur, if you ever use it in anything, a gouache and blur will really blur out the entire image as little or as much as you want it to. And that gets rid of those really hard edges. So we're going to use the gouache and blur just to make sure that we get that really soft edge, and then just tidying it up in using the layer mask again, just to make sure that we've got it sort of tidied up. But again, it's up to you sort of how big you want that glow to be and how soft you want it to be as well. So that kind of is the method that I'm using here to, give that glow to that lightsaber a little bit better. Again, it's up to you to fine tune it. I'm just giving you a basic demonstration on what to do. And yeah, that's essentially all you really need to do. So that's making Kylo Ren's lightsaber glow.